What's up, YouTube? It's Aaron Page. I'm back with another video for you guys today. Okay, so this video right here is going to be about Ray Comfort. He got on the Lafayette Testimonies, okay, and he revealed a secret that he has kept to himself for the last 50 years. Okay, he hasn't even told his children about this thing that he's done. Okay, but he got on the Lafayette Testimonies and talked about it. And so we're about to go into this real quick and hop in it and see what he is talking about. I do believe that this is going to help some Christians at the end of the video. Okay, some that have struggled with this before or maybe struggling with it now. Okay, so let's go ahead and hop into this interview. Let's check it out. Let's hop into it right now.
And so I was very, very happy in my life. Married my wife, Sue. We had our own house. I was only 20 years old. My own business to do what I wanted. And then I had an experience, and I'm going to share with you today, that I haven't shared for 50 years. It's been a dirty little secret. And there's a reason I've held on to the secret. My kids who are growing up don't even know about this. Why don't I share with you, because it's so relevant to what I'm talking about. The surf scene is made up of guys that just loved thrills. When the surf was good, they'd take risks. When there was no surf, they were bored to tears. So they're very open to drugs. 5 of them actually died. I wrote a book called My Friends Are Dying years ago, which opened a ministry for me. But during that time, I remember they were taking LSD. When I was about 14, I saw on television a program, a documentary about this hallucinatory drug called LSD. And they said how great it was because it helped psychologists and psychiatrists reach back into people's hearts and find out what was really deep in their psyche. And was heralded as an amazing miracle drug, but it began to get abused, and they found that it had terrible side effects. And my buddies began using LSD. And they tried to talk me into it, and I said, no, I'm happy. I don't need this stuff. But one day, I can't understand why I did this. I thought, I'm going to try it. I guess it was the power of peer group pressure.
Dang.
My buddies kept pressuring me. So I went around to a friend's place and I said, I'd like to try LSD. So he got a tiny little thing about the size of my pinky, cut it in half and gave me 2 halves and said, take it with a friend.
Wow.
Never, ever done anything like this before. It was very surreal for me to be doing this. And so I took this and nothing kind of happened for a first half hour. We just listened to music.
That is crazy, bro. I've heard some crazy stories about LSD. And yeah, that's wild. And the crazy part is that it is so small, but it does so much to you. That is crazy, bro. And then it's even crazier that Ray Comfort did it. Knowing who he is and who he is today, you would never think that he would have done something like that. That's wild, bro.
I do not remember driving. It was just weird. It was very dangerous. And then I drove into the city to pick up my wife, newly married. And I remember stopping to let people get in front of my car, just across the road, and weeping at the thought of all those people that they were going to die. And I was just filled with this emotion. And I remember thinking to myself, I will not tell my wife what I've done because I know she'd be really upset.
You bet.
And I determined not to tell her. As soon as she got in the car, I just said I took some LSD. It was like my mouth ran off without my brain being in gear.
Wow.
And she just looked at me and said, I'm so disappointed in you. And we had to go to her parents' house that night. For 2 hours, I was as high as a kite. I remember seeing an hallucination of my dog, a little white dog, walking about 8 inches above the ground, floating in front of the television. I said,
That's
look, there's my
wild.
dog. And it was just weird.
That's
And
wild.
here's where it became interesting, and this is the point. Whenever I've shared my testimony in the past, I've said, as a happy young man, I looked at my wife, who was asleep at the time, newly married, and thought she could die and I'd have nothing to live for with all my material goods. And tears just dripped down my cheeks as I thought about the fact of the futility of life. This LSD is a very dangerous drug. A friend of mine around that time stepped off a 1,000-foot cliff. Her name was Janet, and she died on LSD. Another friend took drugs. They don't know what it was that he took, but he was in a mental facility for 12 months, and for that 12 months, he didn't say one word. And this is a very dangerous drug, and it's still very, very popular. But it did open my mind, and that night, when I looked at my wife, it was LSD that pulled something out of my spirit that I just can't understand. It was just so deep, these thoughts about life and death and futility. And I looked up and I saw an hallucination of a ladder of the word why, starting wide and getting narrow as it went right up through the ceiling to the heavens.
Wow.
Why? Why am I alive? Why am I going to die? Why am I going to lose everything? Why is this thing called death going to snatch everything from me that I hold precious? My mum and dad, brother and sister, and everything I hold dear. And that night, I just cried out, why? Didn't cry out to God. Didn't even think God was hearing me. Although I used to pray every night out of habit, I said the Lord's Prayer, but it was just an empty kind of thing that I did to get to sleep. And for the first time in my life, when I understood that I'd sinned against God, I understood the cross. I needed God's mercy. I needed His forgiveness. So that night on that surf trip, about 3 hours from my home, I came to Christ. I was brand new on the inside. And what happened was that what happened to me happened in California to literally thousands of people across the country. There was what was called the Jesus movement, happened right throughout our country in New Zealand. It was a big deal. Thousands of people marched on the streets, did marches for Jesus.
Why do a lot of people want to seek doing drugs in order to have have a spiritual experience? I mean, I get it. I get it that it opens up something. It opens up portals is what it does. It opens up the ability for demons to enter and access your mind and change you and do sorts of like certain things to you. That's what it does, especially if you're not if you don't have the Holy Spirit in you, you're doomed. Like they can do whatever they want. You know what I'm saying? That's why people go crazy. Like they can do what they want. But I never understood that. When I was younger, I used to do drugs. Um, Not anything like that. I've done marijuana, okay? And I never did it to get a spiritual experience. It was out of peer pressure, and then it turned into just trying to be cool. And then, I mean, I've never built a habit out of it. I thank God that I stopped before, but yeah, I just don't get it. I don't get like, is there any like if you're watching this, do you have an experience doing drugs, trying to get a spiritual awakening? And if you have, what did you find? What were you looking for? And what did you find? I would like to know.
And so I gave my testimony, and in that testimony, I shared what I've shared with you today, that I took LSD. And my mum saw it and was so heartbroken that I was a drug addict in her eyes and her friends' eyes. She was really heartbroken when she saw that television program. So I determined to leave that out of my testimony. It's been 50 years since I shared
Dang.
that.
That's crazy. That's crazy. You would never expect Ray Comfort to participate in something like that. But then again, his type of people may be actually the ones that really do stuff like that, the ones that are cool, mellow, down to earth. I don't know. But anyways, I appreciate him sharing that story because of the fact of this. Look, there are Christians right now who do drugs. There are Christians who justify it. Okay. I don't I think that certain drugs can like doctor prescribed drugs obviously can be used, okay? And you have to have a legitimate reason why you're doing something like that. Has to be a reason why. And this is the difference between wine and drugs. And this is why Christians shouldn't do drugs, but it's okay to drink wine. Is because of the fact that if you drink wine, you can drink a glass of wine and not be drunk. Okay, you can feel a little bit of the effects of the wine and not be drunk. Drunkenness is totally different from feeling the wine. Okay, it's a difference when you're like the Bible, I think Solomon described it, having red eyes, falling everywhere, slurring your words, talking reckless, fighting people. Like that is drunkenness. But you can't do drugs and not, you can't, like, even if you take a little bit of drugs, you're still high. And so that's the reason why we say not to do drugs. But yeah, man, look, this is crazy. I never expected this from him. Shout out to him for sharing his story with us. Okay, look, let me know what you guys think about this video in the comment section. Okay, if you're new to the channel and you like what you see, I encourage you to hit that subscribe button. Okay, hit the post notification bell so you don't miss another video. And let's pray for the Christians right now that may be doing drugs or have been doing it before. And if you're one of them, I would encourage you to give it up, okay? Get closer, get a deeper connection with Jesus and let go of anything that can take you away from him, okay? All right, look, until next time, I'm going to catch y'all on the next video, okay? My name is Aaron Page. I'm out.